think I hit the achievement that I've been wanting since I was young to get published. And yes, you know, it's a magazine, it's not a novel, but I feel like this has been the strongest writing year of my life, and I kind of want to share everything I wrote this year just for fun. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly. In this video, I'm going to be talking about everything I wrote in 2022. I'm so excited to make this video. I have so much to share. I think overall in 2022, I improved so much in my writing. I think if you compare what I wrote in the beginning of the year to now, you can see a clear difference. And I think in 2022, my biggest writing achievement, although there can be a lot of discourse around this, is that I actually got published this year. I wrote a drabble. It's a really short story. A drabble is 100 words, and that got published under Martian magazine, issue 7, last month in November 25th, on November 25th. And I think I hit the achievement that I've been wanting since I was young to get published. And yes, you know, it's a magazine, it's not a novel, but I feel like this has been the strongest writing year of my life, and I kind of want to share everything I wrote this year just for fun. A few other author tubers make these kind of videos. These are just so much fun to watch, and I was like, why didn't I make one last year? But it's fine, we're gonna start this year because this year has been a really strong writing year for me. Disclaimer, I still don't think I'm like a good writer, but we can get to that later. So I'm gonna look at my notebook here, my laptop. I have some stats. So this year I wrote 8 short stories, 4 poems, and 2 novels. And for the novels, I completed 1 out of the 2. The second novel I'll talk about a little bit later. That one is still a work in progress. And also another disclaimer regarding the short stories. I use short stories as a very broad term because short stories there are a lot of categories for short stories. So when I say short stories, it includes everything. It includes like drabbles, includes microfiction, includes flash fiction, and includes like regular length short stories. So how I distinguish them is that short stories are between like 1,000 to 1,500 words. I know that some people say that by the 1,200 mark you're going into like a novelette, but for my purposes, like that's a short story. And a flash fiction, it goes anywhere from 500 to 1,000. Microfiction is usually 250 words to 500 words, and a drabble is exactly 100 words. So when I say short stories, I'm just like encompassing everything for the sake of this video. Let's go in chronological order. I'm so excited to make this video. I'm really happy about it. Okay. Space was a garden in watercolor of wisteria and baby's breath, forget-me-nots, cultivated not in soil but brushed across a trillion stars, as if a lover had kissed the universe from one end to the other. In the quiet hum of the interconnected, Willow stood with her hands, one leg folded to her chest, making wishes on each stardust that fell like spring rain. So the first thing I wrote this year was the second draft of my science fiction, my adult science fiction called EUFLORIA. I finished this second draft. I worked on it from on and off last year until April of this year. And I can't believe I finished the second draft of this book, because last year I said that this was my only writing goal. Like I only wanted to work on draft 2 of EUFLORIA because it was really hard, because probably a normal person would have shelved the first draft. EUFLORIA was the first book I had ever written, and because of that, there were a lot of issues with the book. Not just writing, but like literally everything. The characters, the plot, the world building, and I never really explained the full context of EUFLORIA, but I'll try to go quick because I'm going to talk so much, I know. I had this idea for EUFLORIA since I was 15, and I didn't take writing seriously until I was around 24, almost 25. And I think I'm starting a little late in my taking writing seriously journey, because a lot of author tubers I watch are a lot younger than me, and they started taking writing seriously a lot younger than me. But I was always writing, but I just never took it seriously. And what I mean by seriously is I took it as a craft, I took it as a skill to hone, and I took it as like I need to practice. And that's not just writing whenever I had inspiration, it's like really treating it as a discipline. So I didn't start doing that until I was around 24, 25. After I finished the first draft of EUFLORIA, actually about like 3/4 into me finishing the first draft of EUFLORIA, I realized that the book was not envisioning to what I wanted to be. And I think the huge discrepancy was that I had the idea when I was 15, and when I was 25 writing it, I grew so much. So like the core of the story and the themes, I felt like I wasn't hitting the right things. I realized that the whole book was wrong. Like it was just wrong. And as I mentioned, a normal person would have just shelved the book. But I believe in the story so much that I reworked the whole thing. It was so hard. I took apart, I essentially did surgery onto the book. I moved things around, like I took its guts out. It was more than just like a structural developmental edit. I was really going into the book and like, you know what I mean? I was really happy that I ended up finishing that draft too. It was definitely one of the hardest challenges I've had in my like writing career, I guess, but it was a lot of lessons that I learned from doing that. And I can't wait to work on draft 3. So for draft 3, I still have some developmental edits to do and some structural changes to make, but it's not gonna be like really carving out the book and like reworking it. This book is really hard to write. It's set in a secondary world. There's kind of a cast of characters, even though I only have one perspective, and just the world building, the politics involved, little things that I never really considered, like, oh, if the book takes place in a city, how do people get around? How do people go to school? What are schools like? And how do we make things that are not conventional to Earth standards? So I really had to think outside the box. It was really difficult, but I really believe in the story, and I have no idea when I'm working on draft 3, but yeah, I am really excited to finish working, like to continue working on the story. I remember the day I finished my book, I had a dinner date with my partner. I didn't time it that would be like my celebratory dinner, but it kind of ended up being like that. And I was like telling him all about the book, and I was like so excited. I have a bunch of writing vlogs of me documenting that process, and I can link them in the description. So yeah, that's the first thing I worked on this year. My home is here. I have nothing to fear. Around April of 2022, so after I finished EUFLORIA, I wrote my first poem. This one is called Safe. I wrote it on a stream, I think, with Autumn, Ashley, Holly Davis, and Chris. I wrote about my partner because he makes me feel safe. Excuses, excuses, no excuses in being reclusive. In May of 2022, I wrote another poem. This one is untitled, and I wrote this for my grandfather because he passed away in May. It's up on my Instagram actually, so if you go to my Instagram stories in my writing story highlight, you can just read it there. I don't mean to publish it or anything. I have a lot of what's the word? Imposter syndrome when it comes to poetry, because I work as an editor for a science fiction and fantasy magazine, literary magazine, and I was part of the poetry pitch contest, and I'm just like, wow, I have no idea what's going on. I think I just don't know how to edit poems, because once I write them, I'm like, okay, what's next? So I think poetry is definitely a skill that I need to continue honing. Like if I really want to, I kind of only write poems when I have like a lot of feels. So I'm not in a rush to like perfect my poetry skills, but it's just something I do for fun. So please don't go so harsh on me. Today is the country's 100th anniversary, and instead of getting drunk off gin fig and toasting to the giant balloon of our national plant, the hedgehog cactus, I'm stripping off my clothes in an oasis in the middle of the desert. I feel like I'm inside one of Monet's impressions, girl, naked, world, a play on light. In July 2022, I wrote a microfiction. I think it was 250 words. It's called Red and Green, Orange and Blue, Me and You. We'll talk more about this later. Essentially, I wrote it for a contest, and an editor responded to me, not with a rejection, but with an R&R, saying that they would like to see it in like a full short story and submit it to their actual magazine. So we'll talk a little bit more about this one later. Hey guys, I'm just editing my video and I realized that I never circled back to this story. So I did end up lengthening it, and I submitted it for Solarpunk magazine. I got rejected, and I have a whole video talking about rejection too, so I'll link it somewhere up here and down below. I reworked the piece and I submitted it to another anthology, and it's still pending their review. Probably gonna get rejected. I actually had a lot of difficulties towards the end because I was starting to doubt like why I was writing this story and what the core of the story was. It was very difficult for me because it started out as a microfic. It was 250 words, and I turned it into a 2600 story, and now I'm still wondering a little bit whether or not the original idea was just never intended to be that long because it wasn't substantial enough, and I'm like forcing like pads. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I'm padding it. So I still love the idea of this story. Oh, we got him. Can we see your face? So yeah, I still love the idea, but I'm a little, I don't know, but it's fine. It's fine. Windows opened, kitchen exhaust exhausted, oysters deep frying, beef shank braising. Is it stinking in here? Monsoon in Taiwan, the TV says. My dad repeats. Come eat, my mom says. The cat repeats. At the end of July, I guess I was really inspired in July, I wrote another poem called Always. This one is about me kind of, there's like a dissonance, I think, when it comes to me and my background. I'm a first generation from immigrant parents, meaning like I'm the first generation of immigrant parents. I literally just said that. My parents immigrated from Taiwan to the US, and sometimes I face a lot of like, who am I? Like really, what am I? I feel like sometimes I'm not Taiwanese enough. Sometimes I feel like I'm too westernized for my parents, and I think this is a very unique situation that only a select group of people can really experience. So I was just reflecting on that in a poem called Always. Tomorrow, they were going to dim the sun. Organic is good. My boyfriend has a compartment in his belly opened, and there it is, a shiny green battery snuggled up exactly where his stomach would have been. OTP. I saw them in a serial and I was obsessed. The way Cassie and Connor belonged to each other. Not a want, always a need. In July, I also wrote 3 drabbles. Drabbles are, again, 100-word short stories. I wrote 3 of them for another contest. No, it was for a open call submissions for Martian magazine. So I wrote 3. One of them is called Tomorrow. This is the one that got selected to be published / is already published. I will have the link if you want to buy the Kindle, but if you want to wait another month, my story will go on their site for free, so you can just wait and read it then if you want. It doesn't really matter to me. So tomorrow I wrote Organic is Good, and I wrote OTP. I absolutely love all 3 of these ideas so much. These are all science fiction, and these are all kind of like a horror-y, Black Mirror almost science fiction, because I think that's the tone of Martian magazine. So for Tomorrow, it's about solving climate change with technology. Organic is Good is saying how organic food is good for you, and OTP is about our main character who really ships 2 couples together on a TV show. Yeah, I feel like I could do a lot with OTP, maybe turn into like a real short story, but we'll hold on to that. I set their song on repeat, added to my Spotify playlist, Forever August 2022, Heart. In August, I wrote another poem called Forever August 2022. This is about the cicadas outside my balcony. I sit here when I work, and I always have my balcony windows open, and this one day I really paid attention to the cicadas and I really focused on them, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I got caught up in my feels and thought about what it was like to be a cicada, and I wrote a poem. It's, yeah, I mean, I've been sharing excerpts, right? I hope I've been sharing excerpts of this. I haven't really read them out loud, but yeah, I really like that one. I really do. You know what, maybe I should try to like hone my poetry skills, because I really like I really like them. I don't know. Okay. The night is young because you will die by noon. Your brothers wake up first. The oldest crawls on top of your gull husk to kiss you goodbye. Without being born, you will never see him again. Now it's your turn. Now we're like later in the year. This one I wrote in, I believe, September. This one is called Cruel's Bounty. Cruel's Bounty is the weirdest story I've ever written. I have a vlog about it. It's about, I don't know how much I want to spoil it too, but it's from a non-human character and it's in second person. So I want it to be like really creepy and I wanted to evoke like, wow, this could be me, even though the main character is a non-human. I really like this one. I do want to submit it to some magazines, but it's still in the first draft stage. I'm waiting for notes from my critique partner and then, oh my god, and then we can move on to trying to edit it. Daniel made me a caramel latte for my 23rd birthday. He splurged to get into the St. Lawrence Farmers Market, the one downtown at Front and Jarvis, the only place in Toronto to buy organic whole foods. Entering was a lottery. The more you donated to the market, the more entries you had in the raffle. My first and therefore best attempt at latte art, he said proudly, studying the heart, which began to look less like a heart but a balloon or even scribbles from his notebooks. We broke into laughter until the heart melted into the caramel, like how I melt into him on cold nights under the sheets. I never had whole milk before. Around September, October, this one I believe is what I think is the best story of my whole life so far. This one is called The Word for Translation is Flower, a Linguistic Analysis by Dr. Madison Lee. I do not have any writing vlogs of me writing this because I kind of did it offline and I think it's the best piece I've ever written. I talked about this in one of my videos because I channeled like everything, not really everything, but I felt like, I don't know, it just like accumulated to this story. Everything I learned about writing, everything I learned about life from my 28 years of being into existence, and I'm really proud of it. I haven't worked on it since sending it to my critique partners, so she has given me notes, but I haven't worked on it since then because I'm trying to focus on the other novel I haven't talked about yet in this video, but we will be talking about it. I can't wait to see where that one goes. It's really long. It's around 7,000 words right now. And after making the changes, I know it's gonna be like close to 10,000. So I'm gonna be very intentional in where I submit it because not a lot of magazines open up for that many words for a short story. So we'll see. I'm not in any rush. I'm just having a lot of fun writing these. The almost girl dances through Lushan. Her invisible wings flutter in rhythm as she hums a forbidden ballad in the wrong key, wrong tune. She is not a singer. She only gives magic. And yeah, let's talk about my novel now. My second novel that I'm currently working on is called Mia. This is a YA fantasy, and I am still a little bit struggling through it. If you guys watched my last video, I go into details of like how I'm struggling why-ish, and like sometimes I think about quitting, but I don't think I'll quit it. I don't think I will. I'm still gonna work on it. Well, I am still working on it. It's just taking a long time, and I really think I just need to like focus on it and just like work on it and not be distracted by short stories. I am so easily distracted by short stories right now because I think they're so much fun to write. They're so conceptual and I really like that. And I'm thinking a little bit too that like I'm a little afraid I kind of outgrew Mia. It's not like I had the idea like super long ago. I mean, EUFLORIA is my longest standing idea. I had that since I was 15. But Mia, I don't know. It's a YA fantasy. That's not really what I read. That's not really what I gravitate towards with my writing, as you can see with all my short stories. I don't know why I'm pointing here, but they're all sci-fi, so I feel like I outgrew it a little bit, but I might just be like overthinking it. Yeah, I'm still working on this one, so if you would like to stay subscribed, you can watch my writing vlogs of me talking about Mia. I hope I can finish this next year. Like, I want to finish this within the first quarter. In fact, I want to finish this like tomorrow. I've been working on this for too long. I've been working on Mia for over a year now. I worked on it NaNoWriMo of 2021. I took a break from NaNoWriMo of 2021, so like December of 2021 to June of 2022. So I had like a 6-month break. I picked up this book again June of 2022, and it's December and I'm still working on it because during this period I was like this with my workflow, like I wasn't just concentrated, and I think that really stunted this book and this book's growth. But it's fine, we're just gonna keep working on it. If I give up, I will give up, but I'm not giving up just yet. I think like 43,000 words into the draft now. We're at the second act, deep in the fun and games now, I would say. And this is also a YA fairy tale retelling, 2 fairy tales, X meets Y. I should have said that earlier in this when I was talking about this at the beginning, but okay, we have 2 runner-ups because these are uncompleted short stories. All my short stories that I previously talked about, they were at least in like a stage where I could hand it to someone to read. When I handed my bachelorette party invitation to Calyx, my should-be maid of honor told me to lose myself in zero gravity. In layman's terms, she told me to fuck off. The first runner-up is I just started writing this like earlier this week. It's for an anthology. So far I'm calling it bulbsome, or like so bulbsome. It's about our main character who is going for a bike ride at a really beautiful planet. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a flash. It's supposed to feel good, and I don't want to spoil too much about it. I have about 800 words in the story right now, and I don't want it to be longer than 1200 because I do want it to be kind of like a quick flash. Another FUI. And second runner-up is another short story. This one is called Don't Worry, I Have 7 Lives. This one is, I just started it. I have like, I don't know, 100 words. It's gonna be a cyberpunk science fiction, and I got inspired for the story when I was in Taiwan. It's about, I don't know how much I want to say. It's about our main character who is a political figure, or she's a rising political figure, and she has a really unpopular opinion that she's trying to champion. This unpopular opinion is better for the environment, and in the long term better for humanity, but in the short term, like, no one likes this idea. So yeah, that was everything I wrote in 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed me ranting about all my projects, and I'm so happy that I was able to get to where I am in terms of like my writing career, and I hope I can continue pursuing writing. And I was thinking about this earlier, like, for those who subscribe, I'm sure the goal is to see me get published one day, right? But the reality is I don't think that's going to happen. I write pretty slowly. It takes me a long time to really understand the fundamentals of a book, of even a short story too. So thank you for following me on this journey. Like, definitely subscribe if you want to see like where I end up going, but just bear in mind that this is like reality, and I could probably never get published, including self-publishing. When I say published, I also mean self-publishing. I'm here again. I can't believe I didn't ask you guys to tell me about your writing year. Wow, we authors get so caught up talking about our own projects. How rude of me. Please let me know what you have been working on this year. Were you happy with your progress? Was there anything that set you back? I had a lot of like horrible life things that happened to me this year, so I'm pretty surprised I still wrote a lot. Please let me know how your writing went this year. I would love to hear it, and I will respond to everyone's comments. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one very soon. Bye.